So I've always wondered what happens when you hit the SOS button if you need to be rescued in the backcountry, both in terms of what the rescue looks like and how much it might cost. So I've been using a satellite messenger for the last 4 years, and I've always had the SOS button if something goes wrong. And now the newer phones have the capability to also send satellite messages in addition to sending out an SOS. But I've been using the ZOLEO for the last 4 years, and my phone is too old to send satellite messages. So for the purpose of this video and this example, I'm going to talk about what happens when you hit the SOS on the ZOLEO. So what happens when you press that button? Someone comes and rescues you, right? I've been curious about what happens in terms of who shows up, how fast they can get there, what they might show up in to rescue you, and I'm not gonna lie, I've always kind of wondered about the potential expenses. Do I have to pay the bill if a helicopter or search and rescue team or air ambulance shows up? How much is it gonna cost me? I've often joked with people that that's the $30,000 button, and if you hit it, a helicopter is gonna show up and you're gonna be paying that bill. Turns out I might be underestimating the cost. But before I get to the cost, I'm going to run through what actually happens in terms of emergency response when you hit that button, because let's be real, if you're about to die, you're probably not too concerned with cost in the moment. You're more concerned about how you're going to get saved or if you're going to get saved at all. So on the ZOLEO, you have to hold that button down for 3 seconds and then the response goes out, the SOS goes out. After that, there is a 10-second countdown. It gives you a chance to cancel it. If you hit it by accident, you can cancel it on your phone or you can cancel it on the device. If you want to cancel it on the device, you have to hold down the SOS button again for 5 seconds. And it's important if you do this to know that if you see spinning red lights, that means that the SOS is being sent. If you see spinning green lights, that means the SOS has been canceled. So the message still has to get out. So depending on your view of the sky, how many satellites are around, it might take a bit, but it will confirm that the SOS has been sent by changing noise to a positive ascending tone, and then it starts double blinking red. So when the SOS is sent out, it goes to Global Rescue, which is a company that specializes in emergency rescue. They have people on standby 24/7 ready to facilitate a response. They're able to figure out who the closest people are who can help you. Your location is sent to Global Rescue every 6 minutes, and then a live chat opens up on your phone so you can let them know what's going on. Global Rescue then contacts whoever makes the most sense to respond to your emergency, and who they contact ultimately will dictate who's going to pay that bill. More often than not, I've been very surprised reading stories that rescue costs are covered quite often. For instance, if National Park Service is responding, it's almost always covered. The National Park Service has a built-in budget and typically pays for these rescues. The same goes for a lot of search and rescue operations. I've been pretty surprised by that. That being said, if a private air ambulance shows up, they're going to bill you, and then that bill is going to get sent to your insurance if you have insurance. The median price of an air ambulance trip in 2023 anyway, in the United States was $36,000. But the majority of those trips occur in urban to urban areas, urban to urban transport. So if it's a further flight or it's more dangerous or requires more personnel, that cost likely errs on the higher side. But the majority of the flights fall between $12,000 and $50,000. In rare cases, they can exceed $100,000. If you have insurance, that bill goes to them, but whether or not they're going to cover it or how much they'll cover could depend on if you were negligent at the time of the accident and how they interpret that and whether or not the care was deemed justified. There's also different rescue insurance or memberships that you can get that will cover rescue and air ambulance costs. Global Rescue, the same company that facilitates the response for ZOLEO, has a bunch of tiered memberships that they offer to cover different levels of rescue, but they can get pretty expensive depending on what you get. But ZOLEO and Global Rescue just started a collaboration where they'll cover up to $50,000 of rescue costs for $40 a year. So it's kind of a nice middle ground where you don't have to pay for a full membership. This is a nice value add that'll probably make me hang on to this thing even if I get a newer phone that's capable of satellite texting, basically $40 a year, and I'm covered up to $50,000 worth of costs. It might not cover everything if it's a long private air ambulance ride, but it'll likely cover most of it. That being said, that membership won't cover you for things like being rescued from war-torn areas or from elevations above 15,000 feet, which is what those higher tier global rescue plans are for, I guess. Anyway, this was a fun video to put together. I've always been curious about what happens when you hit that SOS button, so it was fun to research it and figure the process out. And again, it's impossible to predict exactly who will respond, how fast they will respond, and how much it's going to cost, as every area and emergency are different. But at least you have a ballpark idea of what the logistics look like for a response. I hope I never have to press that button, but it is nice knowing that it's there if I ever need to.